31, 38.
And that's going to do it. Matt Nass wins.
All right. There you have it. Matt Nass, winner of the 2025 Pro Tour in Chicago. We are going to be taking his best of 3 deck and converting it to best of 1. They are very different formats, especially on Arena. Best of 3 is a little bit slower. 20% of the meta, at least today, post Pro Tour, is actually probably this exact deck, 4-color domain. And then the next bit after that is Jeskai Oculus, again, maybe because of the Pro Tour, but in best of 1, that is not the case. Best of 1 is way more aggressive, with 10% being pure mono red, and then another 10% being all the mono red variants like Boros and Gruul and Rakdos and Mardu and all that stuff. And then the next most played deck is mono black, and then after that is Pixie. So that's a lot of the meta right there, and so we don't want to build the deck the exact same way. The first thing I want to do here is put in way more 1-drops to interact early and fast with lots of aggressive little low to the ground opponents. So we're going to put in the single copy of Elspeth's Smite and then up that all the way up to 4. This is also good because not only is it going to interact early, but it's also going to fit into our curve, which does have some surveil lands that come in tapped. And so even if, turn 2, we have to play a surveil land, if we only have 1 white open, we can still interact early and often with the opponent. The next change I'm going to make is we're going to take out Analyze the Pollen. Really don't need more 1-drops if we're going with 4 Elspeth Smites, so we're going to take both of these out, and we're also going to tweak the mana base as a result. Since we don't have any Herd Migration or Analyze the Pollen in the deck, we actually probably don't need this many basics. We can take out the 1 Swamp and the 1 Island as well, and stick mostly to Plains and Forest. The other thing I want to do with the mana base is cut down the surveil lands a little bit, again, because you just can't afford to stumble in best of 1 standard. It's too fast, so I'm going to go down 1 on the Hedge Maze, go down 1 on the Shadowy Backstreet, and we'll take out 1 Verge as well. And we're going to go up on the Razor Verge Thicket, and also put in some Cavernous Souls. It'll be another land that comes in untapped, and on the off chance that we do run into any control decks, we'll at least have an out against that. I'm not preparing to run into a whole bunch of control today, but again, it is a very good untapped land that will allow us to cast pretty much everything in our deck, including Zur, and especially since we took out our way to fetch the Swamp and Island, it's going to help us cast Zur when we need to get there. Okay, we're making progress here. The next thing I want to do is up the temporary lockdown count to 4. Again, since we have some surveil lands in here, we could go like turn 1 Smite, turn 2 maybe we take the turn off, but then turn 3 we really want to hit lockdown on time versus mono red if we can. I also think I'm going to tweak the 4-drop slot a little bit. We have a whole bunch of stuff going in the 4-drop slot. I really like Beza. It's going to stabilize the board state very effectively. Comes down, could make us tokens and gain us life, potentially even gain a card and treasure. Like, it does a lot to stabilize. I really like this card. I think we're going to drop some Day of Judgment here and put in an extra Sunfall. So we're leaning largely on lockdown early, and then a more powerful sweeper late. If we really need to sweep something, let's go ahead and exile it all, and also add a win con in there as well, since we'll get the token that can be transformed. We still have 2 more cards to cut. We're definitely not cutting any lands. I like the Mistmoors. I could see going 3 Mistmoors to Beza just for the stabilization, but the more draws we have off the Beanstalk, the better. We could put in more 2-drops, but since we're leaning so heavily on lockdown, and we're going to have some surveil lands that are going to slow us down on 2, I think I'm okay there. What I'm actually going to cut here is Zur. In part because, again, we got rid of some of our ability to fetch the colors to play him, so he's not going to be as playably consistent on turn 5 to go like slam Zur for 3, immediately power up Overlord for 2, swing for lifelink. So we're going to drop it down to 2. It's more of like a late game win con. By the time we draw one of these only 2 copies, we've hopefully collected the mana to cast them, either off of Cavernous Souls or the other couple blue and white lands, or we have hit a Hauntwoods at some point in the game to get the Everywhere land, and that should help us play Zur, but we're not going to play him consistently on 5 in this deck. We're going to go really low to the ground for best of 1 with Smite and Lockdown and a couple Surveil lands and a couple Sunfalls on top. Cool, let's do it. We're going to play it live. I could edit this video together. I could play a bunch and then edit all of the losses against control decks that make me look dumb for making these changes. We don't know what's going to happen. We could get parried against control every single game, and our Elspeth Smite could be dead in hand every single game, and that just is what it is. But I'm not going to cut into games. We're just going to figure it out and play it as we go. We need to cut something out of the sideboard. Yeah, I don't think you really want to main deck Negate in best of 1 standard or Rest in Peace, although I've been seeing more and more people main decking Rest in Peace in standard, and I think every time I've seen it played, it did nothing against me. It was totally useless, but I could see it having some targets for sure. But I think Azorius Reanimator Like with Willow's Awakening and Omniscience, it's really only like 3% of the meta. We're on the draw here. We have the lockdown. Yeah, it looks pretty good. No Beanstalk. And it is mono red. What do you know? Best of 1 standard. Okay, we have no 1-drop here, so this is a good time to get the Surveil land down. But as long as we can survive the lockdown, we're fine. I don't think we really need to keep the Sunfall. I think you just want to hit land on time. Get up to that binding. We do kind of give away what we have here. So maybe they'll try to play around lockdown by, you know, instead of putting out multiple 1-drops, they could pump the Claw a bunch. But nope, they're just going for it. Ow, ow. We do have the Ride's End here, which you can cast on their turn, I think. We can pick off the Challenger. If they pump the Challenger with Monster Rage, we'll see what happens here. We could also need to pick off a Screaming Nemesis. Okay, here comes the Double Strike Army. We are well prepared for this. We are running 4 copies of Lockdown, and 2 of them have showed up in the opening hand. We do get the attack trigger damage here. Let's pass the blocks. There's no stick there. I don't think they have any rage in hand. We'll definitely go slow down this damage. Even though we have Lockdown in hand, it's just not worth taking 4 damage. We need to keep our life total as healthy as possible. Okay, here comes the first round of Lockdown. And we have a whole bunch of interaction in hand. We'd love a Beanstalk. Like Beanstalk plus Ride's End this coming turn would be sweet. That's fine. We'll go ahead and name Human here, or Wizard. Because it seems like we're pretty well set up for other stuff. And I guess we'll plan to play a Binding. Or a Ride's End. Probably a Binding, just because it's expensive. Go for the Rage. Oh, they're going for it. What else you got there? Cool. Easy Lockdown this turn. Or sorry, easy Binding this turn. Alright. They have no enchantment removal, so we can't get punished. And they scoop. What a lovely first game. See, I told you. Exactly what we said. No, I mean, you never know. Wait, the next 4 games could all be control, and we'll feel dumb. But in general, like a large percentage is aggro deck, so that's what we came prepared for today. Let's run it back with another game. Let's see what you guys got going on in the comments today. I'd love to see a squirrel deck. Are there squirrels in Standard? I used to like the little 4-mana 1/1 squirrel that drew you a card. I forget what that thing's called. We're on the play. We do have 2 Surveil lands. We have nothing to do for the first 3 turns. It probably needs to be a mulligan and best of 1 standard. The Surveil lands almost make it playable, but if you stumble with this hand against mono red, just like, why even show up? This is a little better with Ride's End. We'll keep this. Put back one of our Surveil lands. We actually probably want the green, so we'll send you back, I think. Okay. Surveil on 1. We don't know what we're up against. I mean, it's going to be not so impactful by turn 3. I think you bin this and go Ride on 2 and try to hit a 3-drop or something a little more powerful. It's black. Interesting. So we want Sunfall for this matchup. And, I mean, exiling is pretty good. Amalia is a big target you want to exile. I mean, we could exile this thing. Oh, they didn't even attack. Ha, they don't attack into the Smite. Fair enough. We'll get our next Surveil land down here. Hotwoods is keepable. I mean, basically, we just want to draw into Sunfall. But I don't feel the need to bin this. It's a good card. Base is going to be really stabilizing for us as well. Malia, that's a key card to kill if we can. We don't have any removal besides the expensive Ride's End. Since they know about the smite, they're not going to attack. They're just going to chill. Still, I think Baze is good. We get blocks for a while and just build up for the Sunfall. Got the Void. Here comes Beza. Couple fish. Just sit here and chill. Sunfall's going to be critical here as opposed to Day of Judgment. There's not too much of like this deck in standard, but it is around. And in general, yeah, like I said, since we have so many lockdowns, I like up in the power level a little bit with Sunfall, and also it does pair well with the Beanstalk, of course. Someone asked on my video the other day, how did that doppelgang work at 29 minutes and 34 seconds? Wouldn't he have had to pay 5 mana? I missed this too. It happened really fast. He played Oko, the 4 mana Oko, which I don't think I've ever seen played in standard, and he used it to copy the Elvish Lord that generates mana for every elf you control. And so then I think he immediately tapped Oko for like 3 or 4 mana, and then was able to cast the 5 mana doppelgang. But it happened so quickly, and I was talking to your comments, I didn't even see what happened. All right, so they don't have any threats. I mean, what we need to do is we need to draw, but we have no ability to draw faster. We probably want to kill Amalia this turn, honestly, to prevent their pseudo draw effect. We could also kill the Pilgrim. Both of these are acceptable. We're good on color, so we'll go ahead and name human here. Or wizard. Attacking just isn't very useful because they're going to reanimate with Raise the Past at some point anyway. We could attack with Beza and see if they want to trade with a Death Touch creature. How much do they have down here? They have a couple things down here. We just have to watch out for the combo that's going to kill us. That's the key thing. I don't think we have to do anything. It's tough to say. I mean, really, we need to use Riot's End on the bat. It's going to have us lose a life every time they gain a life. Until then, in theory, we could start adding pressure, which would mean casting the Mistmores here. It's just awkward we have no card draw right now. Okay. I mean, both copies of Sunfall could be on the bottom of the deck. Sure, they take the trade. They can reanimate it at some point. That's fine. Base is not doing anything else anyway. And then if we want to put on pressure, yeah, I guess we can just slam the Overlord here for 5. But there is a 2 mana to 5 mana bat. Whenever they gain a life, we lose a life, and that is what will ultimately kill us. So that's the card that must be exiled. Amalia is annoying because it lets them filter for Raise the Pass, but ultimately, it's that bat that's going to kill us. So there it is. We have to exile that. They don't have any life gain yet, but that card must go immediately. And all 4 copies of it have to go. Obviously, a temporary lockdown off the top would be insane. Okay. Opponent maybe trying to put on some pressure here. Menace. We could kill Amalia. This feels like they already have the first Raise the Past, right? They're definitely going to Raise the Past next turn. I think that's what that attack means. I mean, we could still top deck Lockdown or Sunfall right here. I think we'll take 3. And give us 1 more chance to draw into it. Killing Amalia is not bad. It's just going to come back with the Pilgrim. Yeah, I think they really want to Raise the Past here. Let's go no blocks. Alright, we don't top deck anything particularly attractive. We have to pick off the Cleric here for sure. So I think we're doing nothing. And we'll just hold on to Ride's End for 5 mana to kill the Cleric. That must be done. This card can't block. I guess it's not really an incentive to attack. They're not going to block either. I don't think. They could actually attack in the air with the Cleric, but we can't risk it. They maybe don't want to risk it against Elspeth Smite, since they've shown us that early in the game. They didn't want to risk that. So they're thinking now, do they raise the past or not? They're going to move to attacks first. Again, they want us to block to get a bigger raise the past. They actually do attack with the cleric. So we could have gotten away with casting the Mistmores here. They go with the Gorehand too. I will absolutely block that though. And then we'll Rides and exile the cleric. The exile is so huge here. That makes a huge difference. And they can reanimate the Gorehound. We do get back a full-on Overlord here. And maybe they're trying to put on pressure, but we're about to see Raise the Past. It's on top. The second one is on top. I guarantee the first one is in hand too. Yeah. So if we draw Lockdown or Sunfall, we basically win the game on the spot. But we took out their card, right? If they had gained, what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 life here, we'd be drained for 5. So we did exile the key card. We got 4 lockdowns and 2 sunfalls and 4 beanstalks to draw into it. It's just a matter of like if we can get there or not. We do have enough to hardcast the Mistmores, which is pretty beefy. Did they bin both raise the bins? Wait, did they get a Raise the Pass in the hand? I'm surprised they didn't just keep it. So there are 3 down there. Do you think they have the 4th one in hand? Or they think they can dig that aggressively to the 4th one? Half their deck is gone. I mean, the next Raise the Pass will be brutal. The cleric's down there too. Well, we may have just signed up for a loss then. And that doesn't really help. Attacking here is probably not so productive. Probably better as a blocker, honestly. I don't know how we're going to win now. We have to somehow survive the next Raise the Past and then be able to Sunfall after the fact. Because even if we Sunfall now... Maybe Zur. Zur would be big too. I don't think I want to attack here. They're at 28. It's not like we're putting on that much pressure. Flying blockers are good. One thing attacking with the Hauntwoods would do is if they blocked with the Pilgrim, it would clear the way for the Mistmores to attack, and that would actually generate more flying blockers. They could have the Dewdrop Cure, yeah. Yeah. I mean, we'll see if we die right here. I think that could be game. They have 3 life gain triggers, and they just got back, what, 3 creatures, I think? So I think that'd be 9 damage, potentially? So maybe drain us from 14 down to 5. If we top deck the Sweeper here, there are no more bats. Assuming we live. So I think this is it. I think we have one more draw here, basically. It either needs to be Temporary Lockdown or it needs to be Sunfall. And if not, we just didn't draw into our outs, which happens. Let's see how big Amalia gets. I wasn't watching Amalia here. Amalia could also be lethal if they get her up to 20, but I think that's it for life gain. Yeah, so we took 9. They reanimated 3 creatures. Each of those gained 3 life, and we lost 1 life for all of that off the cleric. So that's 9 from 14 to 4. I guess we lost 10 damage. We're at 14? Maybe we're at 13. Maybe we went 13 to 4. They have another Dewdrop Cure in hand because they're looking through the graveyard, so that'll be game. I think that's what's going on. Yeah. Oh, and there's the freaking lockdown. I wish I could show it to them, but that's game. So, yeah, we're 1 card away. You can't tell me I didn't play to my outs. We knew what the outs were. The deck is designed to beat this. We did not get there this game, so that's okay. Okay. On to the next game. On the yesterday's video, only 18 damage, but an infinite amount of yapping. You guys seem to like when I talk live. Talk live to you guys. Read the comments. Bro, is this the theme music from Heroes of Might and Magic 3 Complete? Let's go. Greatest game ever. I've never played that game. This is in response to the outro music, or the finale music from my Rank 1 Mythic video. I think it's called something Arrow Chord by Arrow Mix. I don't have my phone on me. I forget what it's called. It's in the description. I don't know if it's part of that video game. I suspect not, but it could be. We're on the draw. We got Get Lost. We got Beanstalk. We have Beza. Mana base looking clean. Not too many Surveil lands. It's Golgari. It's Roots. We should annihilate Roots with Sunfall and whatever else we want. Another Surveil Land? I think I'm okay without the next Surveil Land. We need to play the other one on turn 3 and then we're good to go. Yeah, Lockdown will take the Roots. Lockdown will take all the crap on the ground. There'll be some 3-drops in the form of, what are that Planeswalker's called? Actually won't take this. 5 mana card. Okay, they're not actually Roots. They are, like, cast these really cheap things out of the graveyard. Again, Sunfall will be very good. And Temporary Lockdown will be okay, but we do have some bigger threats to kill. In general, the exile effects, like, the new Ride card will be good as well. So I think we're just going for the Beanstalk here. Molt 10 will give them mana. They'll cast some big stuff. Hopefully Beza can get us moving in the right direction. Don't need to pick off the Balemark yet. Not sure when Zur will come down, but with 1 binding in hand already, obviously swinging for 6 lifelink is pretty big. I could outrace some of these things. Like, they're going to have some very large creatures here. I forget if this deck was in the Pro Tour or not. I want to say it actually was. Is it possible this was in the top 8? I forget. I have to look that up. Someone was asking me to play a Phyrexian Obliterator fight deck, which I think was in the Pro Tour as well. So I guess maybe we'll try that out at some point this week. It's been a while since I've seen that played in Best of 1 Standard. Like maybe a year or 2? Bitter Triumph. Lana says, I don't think it's negative to call out clickbait, but if it feels that way to you, you could always just not include the name of the creators you're critiquing the decks of. That way it's just about the decks itself and not the person, which what really matters anyway. Keeping people from spending money on things that are misleading is a good thing. Oh my gosh, it's a 3-4. I think we'll probably kill that this turn. It's not like we have a sweeper lined up. Beza will be really nice next turn. So we'll just go Surveil here and set up for Beza. Another land is okay. Binding's already down to 3. Turn 5, this would let us Binding plus, like, Get Lost or something. Or Binding plus Beanstalk. I think that's maybe worth keeping. How's Beza doing? Yeah, we're not going to get any lands off Beza. I think that's an okay keep. And I guess this turn we're just going to... Yeah, we're just going to Get Lost, I think. Keep our life total nice and healthy for a while. You could Beanstalk as well. It's not that much pressure, but if they swing for 5, we're going to start to feel the heat a little bit. And Beza's coming. I think either could be good. I think Beanstalking could also be totally acceptable here. Yeah, this is with respect to... I made a comment yesterday that, like, I'm not going to make critiquing videos of people peddling, like, average or mid-tier decks as busted or broken. I'm not going to make them every day because it feels kind of negative and, like... I don't need to do that. And also, I like making my own decks, and you know, I want to do stuff like this too. I want to play decks that I'm interested in. I don't think I mind calling out the creators. Like, I don't care. I don't have anything against them personally. What does this do? For each opponent, didn't discard a card with mana value 4 or greater. I'll probably get rid of one of my 2 Beanstalks. As crazy as that is, I think that's fine. Okay. Mill a card in response. Sure, it doesn't matter. Save some damage here. Beza cannot block the Marauder. If we Binding here, we set up for a really nice Zur next turn. We could swing for 6 lifelink. Is that worth it? It would take off a whole bunch of pressure. If we do this now, all we're getting is a bunch of fish, which doesn't even block the flyer. Maybe Binding is better here. And just start Zuring next turn. I don't know how good Beza is. We also haven't lost life. We're only getting the fish out of the deal, and they have no ground blockers that are worth dealing with anyway. Maybe it's just Binding. We could potentially draw into Smite. If we really wanted to, we could binding the Bailmerk now. Maybe we'll just bind the Marauder in response to like a map token. If we hit the Smite, obviously it'd be great to be able to nab the 4-2 with Smite, but... Yeah, I don't mind calling out specific creators. Like, what do I care? I guess we'll bind in this now. I guess technically, yeah, if we can leave open white, we should. Sunfall. Fantastic against the opponent. Well, now we have a decision to make. Are we going Xur binding? Or are we just chilling until they deploy everything and then Sunfall and have them be really sad? Base is looking really good now. Just have it sit there and stall. And just wait as long as we want and then Sunfall. It feels really hard to go wrong with that. Wait, this is a really funny comment about the elf deck players. I want to believe that the Oko deck was elf typal, but the guy typed elk instead by accident, and that's why Oko made the deck. I think that's really funny. I mean, 6-7 is a lot of damage. We can just make the fish and chill, though. Yeah, we totally just wait for Sunfall here. Very easy. And that may just wrap up the game by itself. Play Beza, make a bunch of fish, block just the Souls of the Lost. Maybe they'll play another creature once the Bailmerk is out. Sunfall, and then we just walk away with the game from there. A takeaway from the Pro Tour is that Cage is not a competitive deck. 45% win rate this weekend. Even the green hideaway cards seem janky, at least if it fit Mono Green's play pattern. Not a fan of Monument's game plan, but it does work. You have an interesting take, not overloading on cycle cards. Interesting. I'll have to check out the Cage results. I've never really been a big fan of Cage. It seems gimmicky, but obviously, what was it, yesterday or 2 days ago, I played that busted deck that was Naya Cage, and they went, like, whatever it's called, Geological Romancer, to discover 3, and they hit, like, a bunch of creatures on it just in time to Cage, and had the untapped land. The thing under the Cage was, like, a dinosaur. It was a whole mess. It was a whole thing. And even though I think I completely swept the board the turn before, and the next turn they had enough to create, like, 6 creatures and do the Cage thing. I was like, what the heck? Alright, let's hope they deploy this last card, and then we Sunfall, and then we just chill. So if we let them attack with the Bailmerk, then they do get some value out of that. So I think we are going to Sunfall here. We could attack? I think you just Sunfall. I don't think there's any reason to do anything else. We might even see the scoop on the spot. I guess technically we could draw into a Smite. I don't think it's relevant. Let's go ahead and take the Surveil here. I don't think it's going to change our decision making. Yeah, I don't need that. So we get attack first, but if they see it coming, we'll just get a smaller Sunfall. A smaller Sunfall token. Oh, they have Beanstalk too. Yeah, that makes sense. Cool. And we don't even know how much removal they have. We saw a single, oh my gosh. Bitter Triumph. Menace, but not Death Touch. I think we just Beanstalk and draw. That's totally fine here. I don't think we need to Xur just yet. Smite's good. It's good enough. Alright. Here comes Big Daddy Beanstalk. I think that's fine. Take double draws. If they kill it and swing for 6, whatever. Our life total's been kept really healthy all game. Lockdown with Super own Beanstalk, so we probably don't need that at this stage of the game. Got the Mistmores on top too. Okay. This could be a Xur turn. 5-4. I think we're just slamming the big Mistmores. They can't get through the 6-6 anyway. This can be on human. Gives away the game, but that's okay. I think I'm going to wait for the Zur to attack. We do have double smite. I guess we could double smite the Gravestalker. Just take the land. We could get lost it now. I mean, I think the game is wrapped up. We could technically... Yeah, they scoop. Like, we could play through the motions, but there's almost... It's basically impossible for them to win here. And we haven't even showed them the Zur. Give everyone lifelink, and then they really can't escape. Plus, we had, like, 4 removal spells in hand. It's just game. Yeah, I have never been a huge fan of Cage. I don't think I've ever even tried it out. I always looked at it. It was like, this looks janky, but it actually has a decent win rate in Best of 1 Standard. I think it's like a solid B tier deck with like a 54 or like 54.5% win rate. So I probably should give it a go. But if you're telling me it's not competitive, maybe I'll never bother with it. It just seems so janky. You have to have creatures, and then you have to pay mana to tap to put a counter on the creature. And if you get blown out, you get nothing. Like, I don't know. It just seems like so much work. And then the result is you get something out of a Hideaway 5. You can whiff on a Hideaway 5. It seems like a lot of work for not a lot of payoff. But again, the win rate is actually pretty good. So there's definitely something to that I have not played myself. This is a good hand. It's blue. There's nothing they're going to hit us with on 2, I don't think. I think we can get our Surveil land down here. What do we want? Yeah, more land's not bad. We're going to go Beanstalk, Overlord. Maybe like Sunfall. I mean, I guess it's fine. We'll probably draw more land. It's an untapped land. It guarantees a turn 5 play if we need it. I'm not so sure we need Sunfall against mono blue, but if they're truly mono blue, then I guess they're like fairies and stuff. So this is unfortunate because if we slam Beanstalk, it almost certainly gets countered, but in theory they could have no counters. Otherwise, if we wait, they could just flash in a fairy and add pressure. That's not that bad because we could smite it. I don't know. I think make them have it. Okay, so they are not. They are Oculus here. Likely Oculus Jin. So Sunfall is looking huge. If we can sneak Sunfall through the counterspell, that is absolutely massive. Smite could be okay. If we can do it first, and then like kill it with Get Lost, it would still get exiled. The Ride or Die. What's that card even called? Ride's End's looking really good here. Alright, turn 3 Oculus. We got our work cut out for us, for sure. We have Sunfall open next turn. It's just a question of, do they have the counterspell? Which they might not. I mean, there's not a lot of space in the deck. They also didn't counter our Beanstalk, which you might do. So we're absolutely going for Sunfall, and if they counter it, it might be game on the spot. We have one more chance. We've seen 0 counters down here. I think we could get away with it after we take 7. This will be an interesting game, I think. Or we'll just lose next turn. But if we don't lose next turn, it could be an interesting game. Looks like they tap out, so we get the clean Sunfall here, I think. Unless they have land Spell Pierce. And then that's probably game? 5, 6, 7? I guess not. It's close. Is there a land? There is. They could have Spell Pierce. They could have it, but we have no choice. Yeah, there's no choice. Technically, if we drew Ride's End, we could go like Smite plus Ride's End, but really there's no choice here. We could actually Zur power up, but you gotta go for it. I think you have to go for it here. If they have the 1 of Spell Pierce, we haven't seen a single copy in the whole deck. There is Stick, but it could just be an unsummon. They could unsummon the Oculus. I think that's more likely than Spell Pierce. Alright, they unsummon the Cure. That's okay. Game goes on. We have the next Sunfall lined up. Who else down here? No other relevant creatures down here. This is not a bad outcome. That's about, you know, if they Spell Pierce, you're just sad. Chart a course. Sure. Just checking out the graveyard again. Idyllic beachfront. Little budget Oculus. I wish we could deal with this without letting them attack. We don't have a way to do that, though. Let's see. Whenever it attacks. Yeah, I don't want to burn the Sunfall here either, though. We could Slam Zero and power up the Hauntwoods. Let them make the 8/8 and then sweep next turn. We could do nothing and let them sweep next turn. I think we want to do nothing for a while. I mean, we've seen 0 counterspells, so maybe they run 0 in total. We could just take the turn to triple Beanstalk up. I don't think we need to do anything now. Okay, another Smite, sure. We'll hold open one of those guys. Beanstalk again. Okay, and then I think just Surveil Land. We won't need double Smites this turn, I don't think. And if they do Spell Pierce, we just set up for Sunfall anyway. We probably can bin the Surveil Land. Alright, we're just setting up here. Obviously, ideally, they deploy more to the battlefield this turn. Another Oculus would be fantastic here. There's a Djinn. If we see the reanimation, again, that's fantastic. I think we'll go for the Smite here. Maybe we'll see the Soul Partition come out or something. We can always just chump block the 8/8 with the 3 token. Let's figure out how to play around Soul Petition. Let's see if they use it. They let it go. They only have 2 cards left in hand. Recommission? Yeah, it's looking like a Sunfall turn. But they can Soul Partition the Djinn back to hand. How bad is that? I think we still have to do it. Plus the Hauntwoods is coming next turn, so we're really incentivized to do this now. Yeah, I think it's just the Sunfall turn. We'll have 2 mana open to do nothing with. We can power up the 3/3. Let's begin. Triple draws. If we're lucky, like a Ride's End would be good. We need some answers to the Djinn. The Djinn's hitting for as a 13/5 right now. Yeah, that's fine. Lockdown, not so useful. Okay. I think we're powering up the 3/3 this turn. Plus got the Hauntwoods. Who needs to go? Probably a land can go here. We'll hit more land. Casting anything off the Beanstalk, we'll draw 3 cards. One of those will be a land. We'll hit all our land drops for the rest of the game. Oculus down. We're all out of Sunfalls, so we gotta use targeted removal to deal with stuff. Double Smite could actually clear out something relevant. They're skipping right to the final recommission, but we're all out of Sunfalls. Right? Yeah, both Sunfalls are gone. Oh no, they do skip to... Okay. Here is a 2 mana 3/3. Binding. How nice is that? So they're gonna reanimate 2 things. Do they even have? They have a Djinn and an Oculus. Actually, they have double Oculus down here. We could take one of the binding. We could take one of the third paths. We don't have a Get Lost. So we could definitely draw into the Get Lost. We can't pressure lethal. We actually have a lot of flying blockers if we want. I think we're doing well here. I think we start with the attack all button and see if we can sneak in a Smite, although it's unlikely. And then the question is kind of what we want to bind. We could bind the Djinn or we could bind the third path. Yeah, they eat it all. Fair. Ideally, we leave it open 2 mana for the Smite here. I think we start with the Mistmoors and get some flyers down. If we lock down right here, we take both third paths and then they literally have nothing. That's interesting. That's really not that bad. It's a very efficient way to deal with the problem. Because if we can't enter the Oculus, they do get a massive board and we're all out of big sweepers too. That's not awful. I think it's actually pretty good here. It leaves them with literally nothing to do. And we have the binding left as well. Yeah, I think I'm in for that. We lose the Beanstalk draw power, but we're really far ahead at this point. If you really want to play around the top deck counterspell, we could also just take the Jhin right here, which I think is... It's almost not worth it. We have double smite too. I think we'll try to use the smite instead. We still could play land for turn. I think we won't open 3 mana. So we can just do nothing here. Like, we could be more aggressive, but we about have the game wrapped up. And we'll try to go double smite here. And if they have an answer, we can bind. Okay, they're going to look for maybe a bounce spell. Nope, they completely whiff. They can get back the Oculus this turn, and then we can bind that. Luckily before our own upkeep, which is really nice. Then we just have to bash our way through the Pixies, and we're about out of this game. Pixie number 1. Pixie number 2. Okay, here comes binding on the Jhin. And then we just gotta bash our way to lethal. We do have the Zerg power up as well. You can be human. Okay, get him. We'll go ahead and play the Hauntwoods for 3 and leave open enough mana to power that up too on their end step. And we're about out of this game. I think we got him here. I don't think even reanimating an Oculus at this point is not sufficient. It's another blocker. It's a land. I think we got him. Scoop. Whew. Okay. 42 minutes. Yeah, I think we'll call it there. I think it was a pretty good showing with this deck. By preparation or by coincidence, the changes we made really lined up well against best of 1 standard. You could play the exact same deck I played, and you could get screwed. Every time you could get paired against super greedy control opponents who don't run any 1-drops or 2-drops, and all your smites are dead, and everything else is dead, and you feel sad, and you're angry at me, Dr. Ruckus, and you're saying, Dr. Ruckus, why? Why have you screwed me up against the matchmaker? To which I say, I'm sorry, it's not my fault. But overall, I think we did a really nice job preparing for best of 1 standard here. Smite was excellent in the mono red matchups and really quite useful against a lot of the stuff we faced today. Beanstalk is obviously good. Raidens is a fantastic addition from Aetherdrift. I like the Sunfall. I think you saw maybe 2 matches where exiling cards to keep them out of the graveyard was really quite relevant in best of 1 standard. I'm happy with everything. I like the lockdown. I wish we could shove in more Get Lost, because being able to pick off the opponent's Beanstalks or their Unholy Annexes or their Caretaker's Talents is a really important part of a lot of the like grindy mirrors. And so we're leaning mostly on binding to solve that, and binding is not perfect because they can kill your binding and get their thing back. So I wish we could shove in more space for Get Lost, but structurally, I like what we have here. We have 4 copies of the Smite. We have tap lands that can slow us down on 2, so we don't need as many 2-drops. And then we have Lockdown to kind of clean things up on 3. We don't have too many Zers. It's a late game threat. And we took out the Pollen to because we don't need it. It means our mana base is different, so we don't need as many Zers. So overall, I like the structure of the deck, and it obviously performed very well today. So if you enjoyed this video, let me know. If you want me to do more Pro Tour decks and take them and convert to best of 3, let me know which one you want to see next. Have a great day, and I will see you in the next one.